Knock, knock, who's there? It is India at your door, elite club of space scientists, and not with a bullock cart this time, but with the achievement of landing on the moon. All Indians remember this cartoon in the New York Times, so I won't say much about it today because a lot has already been said, and we will be gracious in glory. I will not be attacking any international media, but we will like to remind some because we remember. Today, the New York Times report has stated, India is on the moon. The achievement of Chandrayaan-3 may be even sweeter as it comes at a particularly important moment in the South Asian giant's diplomatic push as an ambitious power is on the rise. But for some strange reason, it had to also bring up India's recent disturbing incidents, disconnected at all to the moon mission, and yet the report adds, provided a rare moment of unity to India in what has otherwise been fraught times of sectarian tensions stoked by divisive policies of Mr. Modi's Hindu nationalist ruling party. NYT also had another report to say India moon landing in latest moon race, India lands first in the South Polar region. So of course, we cannot and should not expect all international media to speak highly of India. But this fellow anchor of a United Kingdom network wants India to return all the aid they are sending our way to the poverty-stricken India, because if we can fund a space program, he says, what is the need for the aid?
We should not be giving money to countries with a space program. As a rule, if you can afford to fire a rocket at the dark side of the moon, you shouldn't be coming to us with your hand out.
Well, Mr. Patrick, if we are talking facts, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, our Member of Parliament, reminded the United Kingdom at Oxford Union debate that India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shores was 23% in terms of globally. By the time the British left, it was down to below 4% because the empire had looted away our wealth. Your industrialization survived because Indian resources were transported and profits were earned for Britain. Researchers have a study published that during the era of your former Prime Minister Winston Churchill, India's food shipments were moved away to support your war, leading to the 1943 Bengal famine in which 3 million people approximately were killed or starved to death. I mean, if we start talking about reparation with the United Kingdom, then I'm sure you've heard of the Kohinoor diamond, how it was taken and all the controversy about it, and maybe India would like to have it back very soon. Der Spiegel's cartoon in April had depicted an overcrowded Indian Railways train with passengers even hanging from the sides and atop it, and yet strangely looking happy, while overtaking a sleek Chinese bullet train running on a parallel track. This was their take on India becoming the most populous nation in the world. Many Indians felt this had shown old stereotype that it was demeaning, as if India had only a certain backward living to show to the world. Today, passengers in the train, Der Spiegel is cheering for their nation landing on the moon, and the same German newspaper today wrote, "Our country rejoices. India has managed to land the Chandrayaan-3 mission on the moon." I wonder when will Germany, not as populous or backward as India, will make similar history? Because that was not all. Again from Germany, India-based correspondent at the DW network filed a report a few months ago on the burqa controversy in a Karnataka school, remember? But made it appear as if the whole of India is restricting Muslim women and banning their headscarf. The report appeared to focus that women even in Delhi are fighting a resilient fight to wear the headscarf or the hijab. But there was never a ban across India, yet the report appeared to make it seem so. Today, the DW News tells us and the world that India on the Chandrayaan landing was a mission control technicians cheering wildly as days of anticipation and nerve-wracking expectations ended with the moon mission's success. Now, most foreign media carried Chandrayaan as the leading story on their portals. When during Chandrayaan-2 mission, I remember in 2019, communication was lost with the lander, the Washington Post had written, "The incident could now set back India's growing space ambitions, seen as a reflection of the aspirations of its young population," the article read. Today, the WAPO says, and I quote it here, "India becomes the first nation to land on moon's south pole." Let's talk about Al Jazeera. An article published by the Al Jazeera on 20th September 2019 was titled, "The sun is setting on Vikram lander but not on Chandrayaan-2," and then a satire tone adds, "Despite the September 7 loss of the lander, India's ambition to become a spacefaring nation endeavoring to exploit the moon's water and mineral riches has not cooled down, but it has become more difficult to realize." The article even hinted at a theory that India is trying to make up for India not being a permanent member of the United Nations yet, and therefore it stated, I quote it here, India, which conducted its first nuclear arms test in 1974, still feels the sting of being a nuclear weapons-capable nation of 1.3 billion people and yet not being made into a UN Security Council permanent member. I wonder who feels the sting today? Because today, published by the Al Jazeera, a stark change in the tone was noticed. India lands Chandrayaan-3 craft on moon, asserting its place in the space tech, describing India as a country with growing prowess in space and technology. Let me end with the headline on the front page of South Africa's The Star newspaper. India's Modi out of this world. And interestingly, Prime Minister Modi was seen reading this newspaper at the BRICS summit in South Africa, as was shared by Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The Indian Space Research Organization has given all of us one important lesson. Despite any setback or a bump, welcome the pointed concerns, but do not get demoralized by unfair criticism, mocking, lost opportunities, or agenda-based derogatory cartoons. Must not stop from working on your goal. ISRO put in the effort to turn their dream into reality, because eventually, nothing speaks like success. Thank you for watching.